So I've been reading this series, The Cotswold Murders by Rebecca Tope. This series is based around the main character Thea Osborne and her unpredictable dog Hepzibah. Thea is a widow in early middle age, and after the unexpected death of her husband, she decides to start a new career as a house sitter to take her mind off the grief and boredom of not having him around. Apparently, when he was alive, she didn't pursue any career of her own, content to stay at home, raising their child and becoming an amateur historian. But with hubby gone and the daughter all grown up and flown the nest, the house is big and empty and filled with unhappy memories. So, to escape the memories and maybe the loneliness as well, she decides to spend her time in the houses of complete strangers. Rather than going down the professional burglar route, she opts to do it legitimately and house sits for people with too much money and not enough friends. Thea's role as a house sitter is pretty broad. She's mostly there so that people won't think the house is empty and try and burgle it, and usually there's an assortment of pets that she's expected to look after during her stay. At the very least, she's meant to keep them alive, and in her own words she has varying degrees of success with this. And if you consider usually maiming or killing the animals in question, then yes, she was successful. Frankly, if you want to return from your holiday or business trip to a living pet still in one piece, do not hire this woman. Seriously, I haven't even finished this series yet, and so far she's allowed 2 dogs to be kidnapped and killed by firing squad. She let a rabbit get eaten by a dog. She let a snake escape and terrorise her boyfriend in his sleep. She struggled to keep a depressed donkey under control. She had her own dog attack and hospitalised an Alsatian, and she ran over a pet tortoise in her car. Less house sitter and more pet executioner. But the pets are really side stories from the main theme, which is that on every house sit she carries out there is at least one murder, starting on her very first assignment. I don't know about anybody else, but if I started a new job and on day 1 there was a murder, I'd quit. But she stays and somehow solves the murder without really doing anything apart from eavesdropping a bit and asking a few nosy questions. Somehow, despite repeatedly sticking her nose in and irritating pretty much everybody, she manages not to become victim number 2 and solves the murder. And this is the start of her career as part house sitter, part unofficial detective, because on every subsequent job there's a death, sometimes more than one. And even though every time she goes to a new house somebody gets killed, she is never once the main suspect. She's never even low down on the list. Nobody ever seems to look at her past history and think, hang on, there's a really obvious common denominator here. And even Thea herself starts to wonder around book 6 if she's a bit of a jinx. You think? And you might expect if everywhere you go bodies are littering your path left, right and centre, that other people would think the same and not hire you. If you want to keep your house and land murder free, do not hire this woman. But no, apparently she builds up her reputation as capable and efficient in emergencies and is quite in demand. And if capable and efficient means killing your pets and burning down your house, then yes, she definitely is. Okay, she gets through emergencies due to repeated experience, but she causes half of them, and yet she's almost elevated to the status of local celebrity in the Cotswolds, instead of, it's that woman again, hide! I looked these books up online to see what category they came under, and apparently they are cosy mystery, which I think is a pretty accurate description. They're easy to read and not too intense. This is a good thing for me. I like mystery stories where you spend the whole book trying to figure out who done it. Although they're mostly murder mysteries, it isn't the murders themselves that I really read for. It's the solving of the mystery storyline. The fact that the mysteries are usually murders are incidental. Because one thing I don't like is the horror angle of some books about murder. I'm not into gory, bloodthirsty details. I like the part that comes after, where people are trying to find out who did it and why. Although the main character does sometimes meet the victim before they meet their unfortunate ends, the books don't really labour over the gruesome details of the deaths themselves. So did I enjoy this series? Yeah, I did. I got quite addicted to this series after the first couple of books. I've read most of the ones she's written so far, and I'm waiting to receive the next one. So, while I'm waiting, I've started this series by the same author, this time set in the Lake District. I like the descriptions of the countryside in her books, apart from where they're spoiled by corpses ruining the view. Sometimes I'm almost jealous that Thea is there and I'm not. But as long as we're never there at the same time, I'll be happy.